Hi, friend. I hope you're having a good day. Today's episode is right where you probably are right now because it's where I am right now. We're not going to finish all the curriculum for the year. Last week, I sat my twins down on the couch and I told them we're going to look at the rest of the school year together. I had the calendar open in my lap, the curriculum stacked next to me, and I had already done some of the math in my head, which was the reason why I was sitting the girls down. There were not enough days left in the school year to finish what was still in a lot of those books. Now, I know what some of you are feeling right now because I've been the mom there too. Stomach is in knots. Your brain is running the numbers on whether you've ruined your kids or not. Convinced that every other homeschool mom out there is probably finishing the curriculum, but we're not. And we're probably the only ones who don't have this all figured out. So if that's where you are right now listening to this today, one, I get it. And two, you are so not alone, girl. And I just want to say this mom to mom, and I have a smidge of credibility in this area because I've been homeschooling for a long time. I was homeschooling other people's kids before I was homeschooling my own. There used to be a version of me who was wrecked about anything unfinished in the books. And that old Christy, she didn't know what I am about to tell you now and what I tell myself every single year. And once I learned these lessons, I've never panicked about unfinished pages again. So I'm so excited for you today if you are in that panic mode. Now, when I see unfinished pages and lessons towards the end of the year, I don't read it as failure. And I want to explain this later. I actually read it as evidence that I picked a good curriculum and I've done a great job, not a sign that I've dropped the ball. So why? We'll get there in just a minute. Mama, if you are sitting there today looking at your calendar, seeing that you have more lessons left than days and that quiet little voice asking, am I ruining them? This episode is for you. And I want to say something up front because a lot of the advice that you're going to hear everywhere else right about this time of year is some version of, don't worry about it, just stop. And yes, but no, I disagree with that a smidge, which I'll explain. Because telling a mom, just don't worry about it, just end, it feels amazing for about 12 hours and then something's not going to sit right. Why? Because that permission slip doesn't actually teach you anything. It doesn't tell you what to stop or what to keep or what to say when grandma asks if the kids are behind. Behind what exactly? Anyway, a permission slip handles tonight, but it's not going to make you feel any better because it's not a framework to make educated decisions. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you a framework to not just handle this time of year, but to handle this time of year for all the future years that you're going to be homeschooling. Because this is not the first time you're going to be in this situation. Pour the coffee. That's what I did. It's morning over here. Let's plan the rest of your year together. I'm going to walk you through what I did with my twins last week. I'm going to give you the framework that I used to make those calls, and we'll work out your plan from there. I just love problem-solving shows. This is going to be so fun. Welcome in. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Christy-Faith. I have helped a lot of parents over the years educate their kids. And one of the questions that always comes up around this time of year, every single year, has logistics on the surface, but it has identity underneath. I know, I can't just stay practical. I can never just stay practical. I love practical, but there's always that big mindset shift, right? This is the time of year when moms ask me what to do. I'm not going to finish the curriculum. But the question underneath is that we have to ask today because it's going to be the big idea that's going to help us make all the decisions thereafter. And that is the question, what is curriculum even for? So when a mom comes to me towards the end of the school year panicking, my answer is the same three things every time. And they're the same three things that I do in my own brain. Number one, let's get my mindset right, because if my mindset is wrong, every decision I make thereafter will be wrong. Maybe, probably. The second thing is figure out what actually has to be finished, what can wait until next year, and what can be skipped entirely. There's research behind those categories, which I'll walk you through in a minute here. And the third thing, which is my favorite part, build the actual plan. There's something about having a real plan that's comforting. And actually, my twins enjoyed it too. As we were going through the table of contents and I was picking and choosing what they were going to do towards the end of the year and not have to do, they were already feeling better. So 3 things in that order: mindset, framework, plan. Let's do mindset first. You know how when you meet another homeschool family and you end up talking talking for like an hour, swapping recommendations, sharing what's working, telling them about the pediatrician who actually gets it, where to get the best deal on sprouted flour. That's how we just are. We take care of each other. That's the whole idea behind the Christy-Faith list. It's a directory of all types of businesses and organizations who share our values and want to work with homeschool families. And it is always free to search. All those recommendations we're always passing around, now they're all in one place. And if you're a business owner or part of an organization that loves homeschooling families and you want business from us, sign yourself up. We want to know who you are. We want to give you business. There's nothing like finding a homeschool friendly something or other out there in the wild. Support the people who support you at thechristyfaithlist.com. All right, let's dive right into our first point for today, mindset first. Sit with this for a second. Why does an unfinished textbook hurt so much? You're a smart, intentional mom. You're not the type to spiral over closing a book. So why does this one cost us so much sleep? Here's what I want to talk about, and this took me too many years to see it. That pain has a source. And once you see where it's coming from, you'll never feel the same way again. The source is in the school system that you already walked away from. Think about it. Why did you start homeschooling? You probably can list 5 reasons, and none of those reasons were because the public school system has the perfect definition of a successful school year. You left because you don't trust their definition of done or success. You left because you wanted to actually educate your child, not move them through a textbook checklist designed for 30 kids you don't even know. But here's the part that no one warns us about. When we walked out of that system doesn't ever fully walk out of us. The metric we've been beating ourselves up with for the last 6 weeks, probably since February when we started to see like, ooh, yikes, we're a little bit more behind than I want to be. That came from the building that we left. And it's been measuring our homeschool with a ruler that we don't even believe in. So let me ask you what I had to ask myself the year that I finally figured this out. What is an education actually? Is it the number of pages your kid touched between September and June? Is it whether you finished the textbook on the publisher's timeline? Or is it the cultivation of a human being? Is it whether your kid can think, write, problem solve, ask hard questions, and love what they're learning? You already know the answer. That's why you do this. If you have notes, write this down. Content is not an education. The cultivation of a human being is, which means you're not behind. It could be that the curriculum is just long. Your kid needed to go at their own pace. Maybe you chose to follow bunny trails. There's all sorts of reasons why you could have pages and chapters left in your homeschool curriculum this year. So is it bad if you didn't finish your homeschool curriculum? The short answer is no, not at all. I can think of a trillion valid reasons why we don't finish our curriculum. Now, the important thing here to remember is that curriculum is always our tool that serves that cultivation of the human being. The curriculum content is not the cultivation itself, which means that that scope and sequence, which is like the educator term for everything the curriculum covers and in what order, it's not a contract. You're not going to get in trouble if you don't cover it. It's more of a menu, and that's the right way to see it. And when you think of going to restaurants and looking at a menu, you're not supposed to eat everything on the menu. I used to write curriculum, so I know this for a fact. Curriculum publishers build long on purpose. So when you see those unfinished pages, that's not a failure. It's a tool that did its job, and you'll pick it up again next year where you left off, or you'll pick a different tool. Either way, you can keep cultivating. In one of my talks that I give at conferences, I'll say curriculum is your vehicle. It's not your boss. Lock that one in, ladies. And the rest of this episode is going to get a lot easier. Now, hang with me for a minute. I have a couple of sponsors who keep this show free for you. So please do click on all the links and don't fast forward. They are worth listening to while you get your cup of coffee. When we're back, I'm going to walk you through the framework that I used just last week with my own twins. I'll see you on the other side. Homeschooling 4 kids means I'm juggling roughly 24 different subjects at any given time. And a few years back, during a particularly busy season, I hit a wall. I needed some serious help with the heavy lifting of teaching everything myself and managing schedules for 4 kids. That's when I found BJU Press Homeschool, and we've loved their courses so much that we keep going back. Some families use them for everything and love it. I use them for certain subjects. Either way, total mental load relief. Here's what my mornings look like now. Let us take science, for example. My 3 girls do that one together. They fire up the lesson taught by a real teacher, well-produced, actual teaching, not just click through busy work. And I sit there with my coffee watch them, or make breakfast, and we discuss the big ideas. Every BJU Press homeschool course prioritizes critical thinking, a biblical worldview, and hands-on learning. I just guide the conversation and pick which activity or pages or projects we want to do, and everything's already planned out. They have an online platform included for you called the Homeschool Hub, and it keeps everyone on track, both me and my kids, without micromanaging or nagging. And when I have questions, I call my homeworks consultant. These people don't just help you get set up, they're available for you whenever you need them. It's like having a homeschool expert on speed dial. Go to bjupresshomeschool.com or click the link in the show notes to find out more. People are always curious what curriculum I use for my own family. And honestly, it changes. We've tried a lot over the years. Some work for a season and some completely miss the mark. But there is one that's stuck. CTC Math. It's a full K-12 online math curriculum, and it's won oodles of awards for a reason. It's just that good. I use it for all 4 of my kids, and they couldn't be more different when it comes to math. Finding one curriculum that actually works for all of them, that's been nearly impossible. You know that pit in your stomach when you realize the curriculum that you just invested in isn't working again? Yeah, that was us until this one. The genius behind CTC Math is that it's adaptive. The questions adjust to each kid's level in real time, so they're always challenged but never crushed. And mama, it does the teaching and grading for us. Yes, you heard that right. That's a homeschool mom's dream. Well, especially for me when it comes to math. I would think it's too good to be true if I hadn't been using it myself. And it's not just me. Here's why it's become the go-to for thousands of homeschool families. Free diagnostics show you exactly where to start, access to all grade levels so your student can fill in any gaps or move ahead, short video lessons that keep your children engaged, automatic grading with instant feedback, and progress reports so you know exactly what's happening without hovering. Math used to be our hardest subject. Now my kids do it independently. Here's the best part. Our listeners get 50% off. Use the link in the show notes to do a free trial or to get that half-off deal. Don't spend another year kissing math frogs. This one stuck for us, and I have a feeling it's gonna stick for you too. All right, welcome back. Mindset locked in. Now the question, what gets finished, what gets parked, and what gets skipped? Here's the framework that I use. So every subject your kid is studying right now falls into one of 2 categories. The first category are skill-based subjects, and those are like building blocks. Each block rests on the one beneath it, and if you skip a row, the whole thing wobbles. These are subjects like math, phonics, some grammar and usage. For subjects like that, the order matters because the next concept will only work if they understand the concept before it. They build on one another. But here are the subjects that we don't really want to have gaps in. Now the second category, content-based subjects. Those are more like a museum. Subjects like science and history, the big ideas, the topics, the time periods. It's okay if you see Monet before Picasso. The painting on its own teaches you something. And then the next time you visit, you'll see new things, maybe even in that same painting, because content-based subjects are designed to be revisited in future years. I remember doing picture study when my kids were really little and I was doing a consistent morning time with my littles. Listen, when your kid looks at a piece of fine art and they're in kindergarten, are they going to have the same observations and deep thoughts and analysis that they're going to have looking at that same piece of fine art when they're 14 or 15? Absolutely not. So what do we actually do with this truth? In our house, we call it doing surgery. You take the curriculum, you look at what's left, and you make active decisions about what stays in and what's going to go out. Some subjects you don't operate at all on, and some subjects you operate on heavily. And this framework tells you which it is. With math, no surgery. You don't pick chapters to skip in math. It builds on itself. So that means tomorrow morning, you keep doing the math the way you've been doing it. And on your last day of school, you stop wherever you happen to be on that page. Next year, when you open that book again, you're just going to pick up where you left off and keep going. That's it. Now, I used to do light math throughout the summers. I don't do that anymore. I got to the phase in my homeschooling and my own life where we all needed the break more than we needed the extra pages. But there were many years there where at least having that morning routine of math and read aloud all throughout the summer gave me that structure that I needed for my sanity. Phonics for younger kids works the same way. Strict order. Each sound builds on the last. We don't really want gaps gaps in literacy if we can avoid them. So tomorrow morning, you're just going to keep going on the phonics. And on your last day, you're just going to stop where you stop. Now, I do have one caveat here. One thing that I've done with my own kids is when we ran out of runway and I was worried about gaps, most good phonics curricula have built-in placement tests. Feel free to pull that out. Hopefully that will let you see which sounds and patterns are solid and which ones still need some work. And you can work on those lightly throughout the summer or resume those in the fall. That's just one option. It's not a requirement. As long as you keep working at the literacy, keep going with the code, that's what's important. Now, with subjects like science and history, we can do real surgery. Stopping completely is exactly how spiral curriculum was designed to work. Even the American Historical Association writes that history is meant to revisit topics in an ascending spiral of complexity across grade levels. Translation, your kid is going to see the Civil War again, and they're going to see the water cycle again, and the scientific process again. The next time, you're going to go a little bit deeper. So tomorrow, you can really just pick a date to stop those subjects and stop. And I've had years where I stopped those a little bit early because there were other subjects where I wanted to finish. So we cut those out a couple weeks early so we could spend more time on the things that were a higher priority. Stopping those subjects early, even if you need to, it doesn't create a gap because the gap is already part of the design. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Christy, this means I'm going to skip a lot of pages and this curriculum was expensive. Well, yeah, you are. And listen, some years, like for example, last year in science, I loved the science curriculum that we were using. And so what we did when the school year started again is we actually stayed in that same science year and just finished out the book. And I think it was around November that we went up a grade level just because I loved that science curriculum. But there's been other years where I'm like, you know what? Let's make a change, or let's just end this year. And then we started the brand new school year with the brand new grade level of that subject. I've done both. And I can honestly say that my kids love science because I've refused to let it be checking boxes. I want them to love it. So with subjects like that, your kid will be fine because that's what Spiral was designed for in the first place. Now, English is this in-between subject because language arts is such a broad term. Now, the grammar and mechanics part, that is skill-based. Your kid does need parts of speech before subject-verb agreement, for example, and the writing structure does build on itself. So tomorrow morning, maybe that means you're going to keep going with grammar, but the writing projects or extra reading assignments, stuff that's more about exposure and practice than building on a previous skill, those are things you should feel the freedom to be able to cut, and your kid will be fine. They'll come back next year in a different form. So with my twins last week, I think there were 3 writing assignments left for the school year, and I'm only having them do one of them. And that was the most unique of the 3, what they hadn't done yet. The other 2 writing assignments, they've had practice doing that before. I know we're going to revisit it again next year, so I just let it go. It also does a really cool thing when you're sitting down with your kid and doing it. You're going to get more buy-in because you're going to be able to say, oh, that one is actually really important for you to learn in 4th grade, so we are going to do this particular lesson here. And they have more buy-in. Now, in order to finish what I needed them to finish with the English curriculum, it did mean me cutting out some reading. Now, they're avid readers. They read in their leisure time. I'm talking about like the literature-based curriculum of analysis. When I thumbed through those pages, it wasn't anything new or a concept that I didn't think, 1, they already had a pretty good grasp on, or 2, will show up next year and later, so they'll have another shot at this. And so we let them go. I said, if you want to read these passages in your leisure, but you're not going to be doing these pages on it. And sure enough, they're reading that on their own. So that's the whole thing. So in a sentence, what actually has to get done versus what just feels urgent? Remember, our feelings lie. The right mindset and a framework will give you the answer. And once you work through that and it's on the calendar, that calendar will do the worrying for you. Okay, so next, how do you actually build the thing? Well, I'll walk you through it. So back to my couch last week with the twins. I had my calendar, I had my curriculum, and I had already done some of the math in my head. And what I did next is what you can do tomorrow. Step 1, I picked the last day I wanted school to be over. Again, we don't homeschool year round anymore, or that's not our season right now. I have done light summer work in the past. Whatever is right for your family and whatever season you're in and ages of your kids and your schedule, blah, 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 all those things, you do what's right for you. For us in our season right now, a summer break is necessary. I picked the last day where I wanted school to be over. It happened to be the last day of co-op. I figured that's great. We have field day at co-op. It's kind of this big hurrah, and then we're done. And then we circled it. I already know I'm well past legal requirements for my state, so no worries there. And then I went through each subject and I asked the question that I just covered with you. Is this skill-based or is this content-based? Because content is not an education. What has to get done versus what just feels urgent. So Math, it just keeps going as normal. We're going to end wherever we end, going at my kids' pace. If you're in a phonics curriculum with your littles, do that too. All my kids are readers now, so that's what we did with some grammar and mechanics. Now for science and history, we just decided to stop science now. For history, we do that at co-op, so we are going to finish until the last week of co-op, and boom, that's the plan. For our English curriculum, we had a couple of writing projects left that I mentioned earlier we cut out, but we're keeping going with the English and grammar. My girls were struggling with some stuff, and I want to sit down with them actually this weekend and work through a couple of concepts. Step 3, I worked backwards from our circled date. Once I knew which subjects had to keep going and which had earlier end dates, I could see the rest of the year on one page. And because of that sit down that didn't take that long, now the rest of our school year stopped looking like a list of overwhelming pages left. And I will say my twins were starting to feel uneasy about it too. So not only did I have to deschool myself, but I was also deschooling them too. And our calendar now looks doable. It's a little to-do list for them. And that's it. The whole conversation took us maybe 20 minutes, half hour. When we got off the couch, my twins knew exactly what the rest of their school year was going to look like. And so did I. There was no panicked feeling in the room, just a calendar with dates and answers on it. All right, quick break. When we get back, we'll get to the part of the conversation that nobody says out loud. Super important, because we're not done here yet. I think we need to go a little bit deeper. I'll see you in a minute. Anyone else notice the quality of grocery store food getting worse? I'm not talking about prices. I mean the food itself. Strawberries that taste like nothing, lettuce that's slimy by day 3, chicken that looks grayish, and you're standing there thinking, I'm paying more for this? Listen, I promise you are not going crazy. We've been feeling it too. And for years, I thought there was just nothing we could do about it. That's just how groceries are now. But then I started ordering from Azure Standard. They're a family-owned company. They happen to be homeschoolers as well. Real Farms Organic Standards delivered to a drop point near you. And I have to tell you the story. We ordered a box of oranges, and the first orange I pulled out of the box, I peeled it, I pulled off a wedge, and I stopped. Time machine. Granny and Gramps' backyard, their orange tree. I forgot food could taste like that. And the chicken from Azure Standard? I've never had chicken this good. It's scary how accustomed I got to fine. Visit azurestandard.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. Real whole food without the bougie health food store price tag. One bite, that's all it'll take. Hey, shout out to Summit Health Share for sponsoring this episode today. I love Summit Health Share, partially because it's my husband's company. What I think they're doing over there is absolutely incredible and life-changing for many families. What is Summit Health Share? Well, first, let me start with one of my rants about health insurance. Need I say anything? Probably not. But the copays, the denials, the in-network, out-of-network nonsense, having to get permission to see your doctor, paying thousands a month and then them still fighting with you every time you need just basic healthcare. I believe so much in the freedom that comes with leaving health insurance and moving to health sharing. Now, it's not health insurance, but it does replace it. And it's been around for over 100 years. With Summit Health Share, most families and companies save 40 to 60%, and they have a 98% customer satisfaction. You get to see any doctor that you want, even holistic ones. No networks, no permission slips. You ladies know how I feel about freedom. I want medical freedom too. Summit Health Share has different plan options depending on what your family needs. You might just need major medical, and that's great. On our plan, we get a little bit more, and we get free labs, free office visits, free prescriptions, and no copays. Our family of 6 has saved $1,000 a month. And if it sounds too good to be true, it's not. It's actually how healthcare should work. We've just been accustomed to overpaying for our healthcare. And a lot of us don't need to do that. So if you are on traditional health insurance at all, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to summithealthshare.com. When you get to the homepage, you'll see the savings calculator. Go ahead and click that. It takes only 2 minutes. And when you see those numbers, what you should be paying for the healthcare you need, you are going to be grabbing the phone so fast, because healthcare is a serious thing and you're going to have really personalized questions, and they are used to answering all of them. Tell them all of your concerns, all of your questions, and they will tell you full stop if this is going to be a fit for you or your family. And tell them that you listened to the show because I want you to have the VIP treatment. Go to summithealthshare.com today and the link is in the show notes. All right, welcome back. So before we get to the last point, if you are getting any value from this show, there is one thing that costs you no more than the next 15 seconds. And that is, would you engage with the show in some way? Would you send it to a friend, comment, ask a question, hit that like and subscribe button, anything? I love that sponsors make this show possible and I'm super grateful for that. But the way this show grows is through you and some robots, algorithms. And the more those little robots behind the screen see your engagement and your comments and your sends and your likes, the more they will send this show out to other eyeballs who need to see us. Those of you who know the drill, you probably already did it when you saw that part of the show pop up. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Truly, I am so thankful for all your engagement week after week. Some ladies have committed to doing 3 things per episode, and I love that. So thank you. It's not lost on me. Now, I want to come back to that metric that we named earlier because there's a mechanical piece worth knowing. That ruler from the building that you left, I call it the ghost metric because it's not really there, but it haunts your decisions like this. And here's how it works. The school system says that we need to finish textbooks, but the hilarious thing is, when did you ever finish a textbook in public school? Never. But finishing content is the goal because the public school system is built around the average kid moving at the average pace through the average year. That's their constraint. That's their finish line. The whole reason you brought your kids home was to not do that. You want to meet your actual kid where your actual kid is. So when you sit on the couch and grade your year by whether you finished or what they would have finished, you're being judged by a system that you don't even use. The judge in your head left the building when you brought your kids home, and it just keeps showing up. I know. This is why I did an entire chapter in my book, Homeschool Rising, just on deschooling. These things just pop up all the time. But you, homeschool mama, you get to define done for your own house. And that's what we signed up for. So this week, we do have a quote of the week. The line I think is the one to actually take with you today. And that is, the scope and sequence is not a contract. It's a menu. You were never supposed to eat everything on the menu. We're going to have that note card beautiful and print ready for you. We'll put that link in the show notes. You can put it somewhere. You'll see it on the days when panic starts to come back. And you can put it on your coffee pot, your bathroom mirror, your car dashboard, anywhere where you need the reminder. And that link is in the show notes and it is completely free. If you started this episode today with that drop in your stomach feeling and you're ending it with a little less of that, that's the win. Yay! The pages you don't get to are either on the menu for next year or they were never the point in the first place. 3 episodes that pair with this one if you want to keep going, and I'll put a link in the show notes for these too, is episode 64 if you're feeling generally overwhelmed. Episode 88, it's my liberation episode if the ghost metric hit you. It's all the things homeschool moms do not care about. That one's a funny one. And episode 70, if curriculum decisions are weighing on you right now, which for a lot of us, we're making our curriculum decisions for next year. So that's a good one to watch. And all of those links are in the show notes. And a question for you, and I'd love to read this in the comments. What got cut from your year? I shared what got cut from mine. I'd love to hear from you. And I know there is a mom listening right now who needs to know they're not alone. And we read every comment. And one last thing real quick, and this is top of mind because we just had Thrive Homeschool Community Open Week last week. It was massive. And Thrive Homeschool Community is now closed, but you can get on the wait list for the next time we open. And what is Thrive Homeschool Community? Well, if you're done with the late night searches and rabbit holes trying to piece together advice from the internet from 100 different places, know that that's why we built Thrive Homeschool Community. It's what we all wish we had when we started homeschooling decades ago, and it's now available to you. It's where you get all the training and advising to learn how to homeschool well and know that you're on the right track. I think it's the best thing to happen to homeschooling in the last decade. And most people, when they join, their first comment is, where were you when I started? It is for new homeschoolers and veteran homeschoolers alike. We got something for everybody in there because every stage and age of homeschooling feels like a brand new year. And we support you for the long haul. Click the link in the show notes to see if our doors are open. And if not, make sure to get on the wait list. I spoil my waitlisters. Don't forget to get that free download today of that note card to remind you that your curriculum is not a contract, it's a menu. Thanks for being here, and I will see you next week.